Hi friends, how you doing? I hope you're having an absolutely beautiful day. This video will be the power of breathing and how does breathing actually integrate into your meditation. So breathing is actually something that is extremely essential. We all gotta breathe air to be able to stay alive. Otherwise, if you breathe no air, you die, right? So it's kind of ironic how this actually is very apparent and of the obvious for everybody. But what happens when we actually breathe a very specific way? What happens when we breathe in a very concentrated, deep, connected way? What happens to our chemistry in our body? How is that affected? And one of the things that's really fascinating is that our breathing can actually affect our brain waves. And this is actually a really strong and powerful meaning, because there are certain times where something really bad happens, right? And maybe you've been into a place where something just really bad happened. And what is one of the common things that people tend to do when this happens? Their breathing just completely gets out of rhythm, right? That's one of the first things that happens. And what is one of the things that can happen if you get too much out of rhythm? You can faint, you can have a heart attack, you could potentially die. And so that is, a really interesting element to really be able to take into deep consideration, because if this particular idea has that much effect in our lives, as far as the triggers that the breathing has, what really happens, what are the benefits of breathing properly? Let's talk about that. So when you breathe properly, you breathe through your diaphragm, you breathe through your dantian, and you take deep, full breaths. What you're doing is actually allowing more oxygen. You're allowing more of that prana energy to come into you, okay? So I believe there's a couple main things that happens that are of the great significance as far as proper breathing. One of them simply is that if you have improper breathing, then you won't have the proper oxygen and you won't have the proper delivery of nutrients to your cells in your body. So one of the biggest problems for a lot of people is inflammation. And inflammation is the result of something not going right somewhere, and it actually kind of swells and gets bigger, and then there's not enough oxygen going to it, and that's actually one of the root causes of a lot of diseases is inflammation. And so inflammation can be drastically potentially reduced by proper breathing. And the reason that that's so powerful is because when you breathe very consciously and deeply, physically, your chemistry already brings in that oxygen that you need on a more regular, consistent basis. So that is huge. So that right there out of the gate is already going to set the stage for a much more healthy body. So to give you more examples on breathing, when you run, what happens, right? You breathe much more deeply because there's a lot more circulations that's happening. Your body needs more energy, so it naturally pulls energy from the air, and it naturally gives you that blood flow you need to be able to make sure that everything is getting the proper type of lubrication, the nutrients delivery in your joints and everything in your body, the proper type of rhythm to be able to have that stability in that specific activity. So that's one of the things that happens more on the physical plane, and that in itself is a dramatic impact. So you can actually just breathe more consciously, breathe deeply. You don't have to hyperventilate, but you can take deep breaths, conscious breaths, full breaths, and that in itself is going to create a huge element for health in your body. Now, the other part is what happens to your brain waves. And this is one of the things that I've learned when I was studying meditation, and why is it that meditation oftentimes combines the breathing practice into it. And the reason is because when you take very conscious, deep, rhythmic, full breaths, what happens is you change your brain waves. And this is huge, because if you are in a situation where you are stressed out and you're not feeling well, and it's just things are not going according to plan, one of the first things you can start doing is take a deep breath and just calm yourself. So let's go ahead and try that. Let's take 3 deep breaths right now to see, how we feel. 1, 2, 3. Well, I can tell you right now, with those 3 breaths, I feel much more relaxed, and I hope that you do too. But that's the power of breathing, that if we actually get very intentional with it, it's going to create that chemistry in our body, and at the same time, it's actually going to create that specific brain wave, more oxygen into our brain, more oxygen into our pineal gland, and actually therefore create more of the environment that we need inside of our body to create that higher performance in our ability to think and in our mind. So that's really, really important. So the reason that these brain waves are so critical as well is because there's specific brain waves that are generated in the body in particular states. So if you're running, it's different. If you're sleeping, it's different. If you're really concentrated and focused on something, it's different. If you're watching TV, it's different. So one of the interesting studies is the common denominator of the specific types of brain waves that are generated and activities that involve very specific things, such as meditation, such as healing, such as being able to potentially move objects with your mind and create that kind of energy. And it's actually connected right back to the breathing. Now, personally, since I've learned how to move little objects and ripple water and move fire and stuff, and you can see that on some of my other videos, but I first began with really having that focus to breathe. And I believe, breathe rhythmically, I believe that actually comes, that energy of the yin yang, I believe that actually comes from 2 different places. One of them is that you have the electric charge in the earth, you have the negative ions. The earth is absolutely charged with energy, and that's why there's all these benefits to barefoot walking, and that's a video in itself that you can check out here on my channel. And another one is the benefits of breathing, and that actually is the other side, that is the electric and magnetic chi. Actually, the magnetic comes from the earth, supposedly, the magnetic and the negative ions, and then the breathing is actually the electricity, the fire, the air that comes in, and both actually create this type of charge. So when you look at our bodies, they are made up of a whole bunch of nerves shooting electricity onto themselves, all these neurons that are firing inside of our body that connect all of our organs, connect of our blood, our arteries, our cells. It's all an electric phenomenon. So when we breathe, we're literally breathing the electric chi, we're literally breathing the prana, and we're bringing that into our body. And when you do that very focused, once again, what that does is actually brings in that delivery of oxygen into your physical body to bring in more of that physical charge that you need, but also it actually brings in that specific change of state in your mind. So it's been said that if you do proper breathing, and you actually breathe rhythmically and deeply and focused, you will remove any type of negative brainwave that you were creating. So if you're in a very stressed out situation and things are just going the wrong way, one of the most powerful things that you can do is learn how to take control of your breathing. And if you combine the breathing with the intention, that, my friend, is a meditation. That right there is the common denominator of all the different energy cultivation systems in the world. So this is extremely profound. When I was looking at what are the common denominators with chi, with prana, with magnetism, with all these different things, ki if you're in Japan, all these different ways to actually channel energy, to bring in energy, to create higher ways of brain function, to bring in that cognitive function in the brain more on a on-demand basis with intention. If you're really looking for that common denominator, it goes right back to breathing and intention. And so I believe that if you really have that deep, connected, rhythmic, calm, focused breathing and intention, you will bring in that ability to be into a sort of a meditative awake state that will give you that ability to truly magnetize your body and your life and the things that you want to bring into your life, the things that you're intending to come to your way, to really be able to have that manifestation. And I think that's truly, truly profound. And there's a lot of times where we want to be able to harmonize our bodies and be able to have anything that's not at ease, if you have a disease, to come back at ease. And this is one of the first elements to be able to do that. And I think it's so easily overlooked. It's so subtle, yet the impact is gigantic. So I hope that you can take this into consideration and remember that knowledge is not as powerful as wisdom. Just because you found this video and you had already heard about this, yet you don't practice rhythmic, concentrated breathing at all, or any type of meditation at all, then there's no power to you, right? So it's like having a vehicle that can be able to take you from point A to point B. So what? It doesn't matter if you have that car. If you're not going to take that key, turn the ignition, and get in there and drive from point A to point B, it doesn't matter if you have that vehicle. It's not going to get you to where you want to go. So the knowledge is not as powerful as compared to the wisdom. The wisdom is the actual implementation in the practice of this specific idea. It's the practice of the knowledge. So when you have the knowledge and you put it to practice, that is the wisdom. And the people that are wise, the people that bring wisdom into their lives, are the ones that are truly going to thrive, and the ones that are truly going to wake up in the morning and be thankful for being alive. And that is going to be that frequency that truly is going to resign in the best possible way. So I hope that this video helped you today. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. God bless.